Welcome to the fourth episode of Restartnaija. In our last episode, we spoke about the principles of social structure. These principles, we highlighted them in 4 different elements, which are internal maturity for all the ethnic communities that come together to form a country. It's the principle of compatibility between the nations that come together to form this country. The third element is the element in which all these ethnic communities declare their assets and liabilities, what they can offer and then what they require in this new social structure. Then the last is the agreement and then the signing of constitution. When they have agreed and written it in a constitution, now they can say that they have become one country, moving together and then doing their things, ordering their ways together. In this particular week, we have said that we should talk about the difference between the ideal way of forming a country and the Nigerian way of national formation. Before that, I want to tell you a story. This story is the story of 4 different cars who were always competing among themselves. And then by this competition, they were always developing themselves. They compete on a car race. Whoever runs faster is winner for the day. And then they continue doing this. As they do it, they come back and then improve themselves. As they were doing this, they needed more spare parts, more components to make themselves stronger. So they left their place and then went to other garages and began searching for components. They found a garage which we could call Rika, and then in that component garage they saw different components and they were very happy. They began struggling and packing components. As they were struggling and then gathering components from this Rika garage, they were having problems within themselves, so they agreed that they should partition this garage so that they will be taking components from their specified locations. When they made these partitionings, they say, you, car 1, you are in charge of this particular one. Car 2, you are in charge of this. Car 3, you are in charge of here and here and here. Car 4, you are in charge of... So they shared this garage and then we are collecting components from this garage. At a point, these components in the garage felt angry that these cars were just collecting and leaving them with nothing. So they insisted that they wanted to become cars on their own too. So these main cars, the car 1, 2, 3, 4, said, okay, since you want to become cars, what do we do for you? Let's make you a car. So they gathered those components which were in their own partitions and then brought a body of car and then framed them all inside one body of car and says, now you are a car. They were very happy. Now we are a car. And then they said, let's take one person and put him as the driver. Let him be moving us. But they forgot something important. They were not connected as components of a car. So when they chose somebody to become the driver went in, he tried starting the car, but the car wouldn't start because there was no connection between the plug or the battery or the engine, anything. So he came down, went behind the car, and then pushed the car. As the car was rolling, they started shouting, yay! So he jumped in immediately and then began to enjoy himself. As he was moving down, when the rolling stopped because there was no force to continue, the other components began to agitate again. You don't know how to drive. You don't know how to drive. Then they pushed him away and then brought in another person. The other person came and looked and said, hey, the engine, there is no engine oil in the engine. So he poured engine oil. But the engine oil only stayed in the engine. It did not circulate because there is no connection. So he went back and pushed again. As he pushed even further, the car started to roll. So he jumped in and they were saying, yes, this is the man. After some time, the same thing that happened in the first one happened. There was no connection to pick up and then move the car. So the car rolled and stopped. They chased that one out, brought another one. However, as they were pushing this car, many parts were dropping, and all these parts that were dropping were being collected by the major cars 1, 2, 3, 4. So these major cars 1, 2, 3, 4 will pick up these parts and still fix to themselves and be improving themselves more and more. This is the position of Nigeria now. Nigeria and many other African countries are those new quasi cars that we are not connected. And then we continue to think that by pushing or by changing driver that it will work. I tell you, it will not work. This connection that is missing remains the problem of Nigeria. When a new leader comes in, he says, okay, let's paint it and rebrand it. After painting without connecting, after fixing new chair, wonderful leather seats, I'm changing the windscreen without connecting the parts, it will not work. Hence, the problem with Nigeria is understanding the component parts that they are compatible and workable with the others before the connection, which brings them together and sets them properly for working. Thank you for watching this 4th episode of Restartnaija. In our next episode, we shall explain further the problems with Nigeria. Feel free to share this video with your friends so that they will appreciate the problem of Nigeria and be willing and ready to help when it comes to them to solve the problem of Nigeria. God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am still your host, Enokwechi Chukwunwike.